In 1997, Walter and I decided to take his parents on a cruise to the Caribbean to celebrate their 60th anniversary, which had occurred the month before, and our 28th, which would occur a few days after the cruise. Since Mum and Dad had never been on a cruise or indeed out of the country before, they were both thrilled and delighted. So, after meeting them at the Fort Lauderdale airport, we excitedly made our way to our ship, the Sun Princess, for lots of fun and frolic. After noshing on a few sandwiches and learning the layout of the ship, we were summoned to lifeboat practice, the only chore assigned to the passengers for the entire cruise. Now, I've never been very good with all the straps, lights and whistles, but Mum got along very well. So I went through all the motions and figured that Walter would help me on with my equipment and save me if anything happened en route. But I knew his parents would get along well because of Mum's quick grasp of the situation. And Dad seemed to be getting along well too, when he wasn't messing around with the lights and playing with his whistle.
Now turn around.
It's not really my colour, you know.
Oh, it's sail away time. Mum and Dad and I are patiently waiting on deck for the ship to move. It was unfortunate that Walter came down with a nasty bout of shingles just before we left. Although a trifle spotty, he held up very well. Walter made the mistake of handing me the camera, and I did about as well with that as I did with the life jacket. But I did my best.
Turn your, put your tongue out or do something exciting. Oh, good, good. And there we go. We are turning very slowly. How do I turn it off, dear? Which one is it? Please here, I hand it like that. And all I could see was this.
I know, I did that job earlier.
All right.
Sorry, Dad, you're a bit belated sticking out your tongue, but I must say your teeth look lovely. The night at sea was the captain's welcome party, and therefore a formal night. All dressed up to the nines, we headed for the atrium for some free liquor and hors d'oeuvre. Of course, Walter couldn't indulge because of his shingles medication, and the folks didn't indulge at all, so I felt it was my duty to make up for the three of them, which I did. And here's the captain schmoozing with some of the passengers, while waiters scurry around serving, and others are having their pictures taken. Oh, look at the atrium ceiling. Now, isn't that pretty? Finally, the captain is speaking with Mum and Dad. Oh, how pleased they were. And it happened just at the right time because the party finished soon after. The next morning, Jamaica greeted us with the usual tropical shower.
We want to do all the other things. We just want to see the falls, and we want to go to a telephone, and we want to do it pretty quickly. So, you know.
Bargaining with the local Jamaican taxi driver brought dividends as we were soon at Dan's River Falls, the most popular tourist site on the island, and for a very good price. Here the people walk up the waterfall instead of just watching the water fall down. As usual, Dad had more fun chatting with the locals than watching the wonders of the scenery, as I did, particularly those people wearing very brief swimsuits. Dad always got along with people and could enjoy a chat with almost anyone. Back at the ship, we were accosted by a Caribbean private as we left the dining room. Am I the only one that looks frightened? Mum and Dad took a tour of the bridge. Dad was pleased no end as he loved boating and, as a heavy equipment operator, always enjoyed engines and controls. That night, we celebrated our anniversaries. We exchanged cards, and Walter gave me a very sentimental one, which made me tear up. But the most important item was Mum and Dad's cake and the serenade by the waiters.
Hello. Mr. and Mrs. Gilmore.
That's right. Oh.
Thanks.
1, 2, 3. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
And the kiss exchanged by Mum and Dad afterwards, which made me tear up even more. Our next stop was the Cayman Islands, where we arrived by tender. Here, Dad continued his tradition of putting his hand in every body of water he visited, which weren't that many. We took a tour of the island, of course, and our first stop was Hell. Yes, there really is a place called that. It's complete with a souvenir shop, of course, which is run by a devilish shopkeeper, complete with red cape and horns, who posed for photographs and sold postcards stamped "Sent from Hell." Of course, the whole point of stopping was to observe the brimstone, an ancient volcanic flow which gave the place its name. Our second stop was at the turtle farm to learn about sea turtles. Look at all those titular turtles. This is a production farm, and the turtles are raised to be harvested for leather, jewellery, and let's not forget, turtle soup. And poor Mum wasn't doing very well either, as she suffered from migraines in her later years and had to wear a neck brace for relief. If you get too near the largest turtles, they will splash you in the blink of an eye, as they did to me. Oh dear, an iguana in the tree. And worse, another one on the ground. Horrible monsters, and they bite. Let's get back quickly to the bus, the tender, and the ship. One of the many activities on the ship was an ice sculpture demonstration. Mum and Dad had never seen this before and were impressed by the skill and speed of the carver. He wielded his chopper so very quickly and yet carefully chopped out the delicate features of an eagle. We had seen this before, but the folks were so fascinated by it, their reaction caused us to look at this procedure with fresh eyes and a new interest. One slight mistake and everything could have shattered. And I certainly didn't need any more ice in my drinks that night. No, but seriously, it was a wonderful display, and the folks insisted on posing in front of it as a special remembrance. At our last stop, Cozumel, Mum is really into the swing of shopping and walking. She was completely in her element, especially in the jewellery shops, as she loved to design jewellery and collected diamonds and other precious stones. We covered almost a mile before she threw in the towel and declared she was very hungry and wanted to go back to the ship to fill up. A good sign for someone who was bordering on a frail state originally and was now obviously stronger and healthier. So we were delighted by this out-of-character but welcome reaction, demonstrating how well she was feeling. Dad was delighted, so we hailed a taxi and went back to the ship for lunch and a couple of restful deck chairs. Our last night came too quickly. The waiters marched around the darkened dining room for the parade of the flaming baked Alaska. I always have a hefty piece of it. What a pity they no longer present baked Alaska with the parade. But this dish is still served on the last night of every Princess cruise, and personally, I am always grateful. It was a most lovely vacation, especially with Walter's folks being with us. They never cruised again before they passed on. I'd like to add a personal note, if I may, and I'm sure Mum and Dad would appreciate it. One of the biggest charges I got out of the trip, of course, is that nowadays when people tell me to go to hell, and they do, I can now truly reply, been there, done that.